Hey, what's going on? I'm Brandon Bain.
Hey, good evening. I'm Dan Foles, and this is Rubbin' and Grubbin'. We're going to talk about NASCAR, racing, and good eating, and we're glad that you're here with us. Hey, look, if you're seeing this on Facebook, do me a favor and hit that share button, like it, and share it. You're looking at this on the Coach's Corner page. Coach's Corner, the center of the universe. If you're seeing this in a couple of days, it'll be up on YouTube and it'll be on Twitter. If you're seeing it there, hit that like button and share it. Hopefully we can offer you something that you enjoy, and we'd like you to share that with your friends. We'd like to thank Coach's Corner and John and Dale Henderson for letting us be here. It's Brandon Bain, and he is a NASCAR expert, and I'm Dan Foles, and I'm a NASCAR fan, relatively inexperienced NASCAR fan, enjoyed it for years but don't know much about it and trying to learn more, and that's the premise of our show. Hey, if you listen to ESPN Radio, that's Savannah Hilton Head, on 104.3 FM and 1400 AM at 9 a.m. last Sunday, you might have heard Brandon, aka Big, and me on the latest episode of their new show. It's called Green, White, Checkered, and it's hosted by PJ Zuko, who is a radio personality and another NASCAR expert, unlike me. So the premise of that show is, it's two experts and one new guy, and we have a good time. We talk about NASCAR. So thanks again for teaming up with us, PJ. If you see this, PJ is a spectacular young man, and we have a blast on the show. I actually did my part recording that show in the liquor cabinet last Saturday night, right here at Coach's Corner, in the middle of working the door for a spectacular show we had last Saturday night.
Yeah.
And when I finished recording that show and I came out of the closet, the police officer standing over there, Cliff, said, "Well, I'm glad to see that you finally came out of the closet." We had a great crowd last year, Sunday, for the race, and we're going to talk about that race and that experience. So, NASCAR news. Big deal. NASCAR is finally going to have some fans at one of their races. And as a retired soldier, a retired Night Stalker, 3rd of the 160th at Hunter, I think that this is the coolest thing that they're doing.
Yeah.
Because what they're doing on Sunday, next Sunday, coming up, Miami-Homestead, they're having 1,000 members of the military. That's badass right there. Yeah. That is awesome. They're having 1,000 members of the military. They're coming in, and there comes the swear bucket. Good catch. And you know, 1,000 folks isn't a lot of folks, but I'm going to tell you what, dear Mr. NASCAR, this is a huge thing that you are doing for the military service member. It's trying times in the world right now, and you doing this for these military members is spectacular. And on behalf of them, as a soldier myself, I'm going to say thank you very much, Mr. NASCAR. The following week at Talladega, they're going to have 5,000 fans, and that's going to be the general public, 5,000 folks. Are they selling tickets, or is that a lottery or what?
I'm pretty sure, I think you might have had to already have a ticket purchased. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work. I know that there's some guidelines also with that. Obviously, you can't come from a different state and go in. I think we were talking about it earlier. It's like within a 150 mile radius.
Okay.
So at least we're getting back. It came back a lot earlier than what I thought. I told you, we had talked about it. I thought September, early part of September, Labor Day, right around there, we get it back. So at least they're starting to slowly but surely bring fans back in. I think it'll be quite some time before you actually see some big numbers, but right. I mean, there again, who knows, So I think it's an awesome thing we're doing. NASCAR's doing. I think it's amazing that we're getting people back in safely, obviously. I mean, I think it's great, man.
I think it's spectacular, awesome, too. I don't know this for sure. Please don't take this the wrong way, but I have heard, and I have read, and I have seen that heat and humidity is bad for the coronavirus. And if that's the case, the frickin' coronavirus is dying in Savannah, Georgia today.
Yeah, it is.
It is a hot, humid son of a gun
today,
outside.
Man.
Holy crow. God bless getting back to normal. So Martinsville starts here shortly. It'll be back up on this Jumbotron behind us. Before we get down to that Martinsville race, we're going to talk about the race at Atlanta last Sunday. Specifically, the pre-race, because that was pretty cool. So NASCAR's had a reputation in the past when it comes to inclusion and diversity. And they haven't always done the right thing. But by golly, if you're paying any attention, you can see that America's trying to do the right thing, and NASCAR is leading the way on trying to do the right thing. they've been trying hard to have a better image and to be more inclusive. And it's obvious. NASCAR right now, as the only thing going really, they've got their thumb on the pulse of America. They really do. And they're doing things right. And man, aren't you proud of them?
Yeah, I mean, we talked a little bit on the radio show in between doing our taping. You know, it's one thing I wish I would have mentioned on it, but we're going to mention it here, is, you know, a lot of people fail to realize NASCAR as a sport was one of the first major sports to actually introduce their diversity program,
right,
to get minorities into the sport, whether it be crew members, whether it be personnel, whether it be drivers. They have a program to try to help get these younger drivers, right, or younger people coming up,
right,
from minority cultures in the sport.
Right.
And this has been going on for quite some time. So I think it's a really big move. I think that it's a great move. I think that they obviously came out with the most heartfelt statement. As many people know, obviously you're a sports fan keeping up with NFL. What the NFL has going on with the minority coaching thing, I think is I think it's a cheap way. A cheap way to go about it, honestly.
Okay.
You know, if you haven't heard, it's, you know, if you hire a minority offensive coordinator, head coach, assistant head coach, big position, there's a speculation that you're going to end up getting better draft picks or more incentive in the draft.
Okay.
And I totally disagree with that. I think that there again, we should be starting diversity programs to bring up these young coaches through the ranks, on the teams, on these organizations like NASCAR does, and give them the opportunity to be there. I don't feel if you're not as good as somebody else who's from a different culture, I don't think you should just get the job based on your ethnicity. That's not the way I am. I think if you go and you're doing a great job, you should obviously have the equal opportunity that everybody else does.
Right.
And they do a really good job, man, to make sure that these guys get a platform, you know, and they have an opportunity to come into a sport they love, or to come into the engineering aspect of it, or whatever it may be. So I think it's great, man. They do a good job, and like I said, I wanted to get that out there. NASCAR is one of the first major sports, if not the first, to start pulling them in. You know, start the diversity program, getting it all to where we're all equal, all one, and doing great things. I think America in general needs to take a lesson from that and go, hey, let's just include each other, and let's keep moving forward, man.
All good stuff. You know, I love a good contest, and I love watching a man or a woman work their butt off and do well. And I've been like that my whole life. I've had my share of successes, and I've had my share of failures.
Yep.
And I mean, who doesn't like the struggle? That's why us as Americans, we like athletics so much. And gosh, you know, in most sports, we see people from everywhere, from all backgrounds,
right,
that are able to excel. And I'm looking forward to more of that in NASCAR.
Yeah.
You know, right now, the one shining example we've got is Bubba Wallace. And I look forward to more people that don't look like me being successful NASCAR drivers. I celebrate that. When somebody who doesn't look like me does well, I think that's, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I mean, as we go back to the diversity in NASCAR, I mean, Daniel Suarez is one. You know, coming from Mexico, came up, got his ride, had his time in NASCAR.
Yep.
That's a big thing for his home country. I mean, these guys are, you know, proud no matter what it is. As a country, you're like, man, my guy's there. Bubba Wallace, you know, even Kyle Larson went through a little bit of the diversity program, Asian American. So I think it's great, and I think it's amazing. And as long as, like I said, it's positive and we keep doing everything together and moving forward, it's gonna be good to go, man. I think we're great as a sport. It doesn't matter to me color of skin as far as the driver goes. If you can get in that car behind that wheel, man, and drive the wheels off of it, that's all that matters.
So I'm going to take a very short pause here. So I spent 9 years as a flight lead and instructor pilot in the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment, right over there at Hunter Army Airfield. And when I got here as a nugget, new to Special Ops, one of my mentors was an African-American first sergeant, and he wasn't even in my company. He was a Black Hawk Company first sergeant named First Sergeant Garvin. And First Sergeant Garvin passed away in the last couple of days. So if you're familiar with the Night Stalkers in 3160, you've seen that I'm the president of the Night Stalker Association's local chapter, and we've talked about that on there. He was a spectacular human being, and he knew exactly how to take a young warrant officer making stupid mistakes up under his arm and say, hey, Chief, you know, let me give you some good advice about how you're going to do well as a Night Stalker, right?
Tighten you up a little bit.
I mean, I just got love for that man, and condolences to his family.
Yeah.
I think we want to see people do well. I want to see people do well. Don't you want to see people do well? I don't care where they come from. I want to see people do well, work hard, and succeed. All right. I do believe that NASCAR wants to bridge the divide in our country and help heal our nation. The opening ceremonies for the race last weekend.
Yeah.
Holy crow.
Yeah.
I walked in the door as the national anthem was going on, and one of the things we do here at Coach's Corner, if you come over here for an athletic event and people sing the national anthem on TV, you believe it or not, we actually stand up and we put our hand on our heart here, for something that's on TV. We do it for Georgia football games.
Yep.
I mean, Coach's is kind of is full of pretty patriotic people. So I walk in and I have to stop, and then I realize it's this young kid singing the national anthem. And I mean, he is. Did you get to see this?
I got to see afterwards. I was at work, but I did get to see the replay of it, and it was awesome, spectacular, man. It gives you goosebumps.
He
man.
crushed it. And he crushed it. His name was Kedron Bryant. He was 14 years old. Good job, NASCAR, for finding that kid. Kid, spectacular. Mr. Bryant, young Mr. Bryant, you did an amazing job. And I'm going to tell you, there was two old, fat, white guys sitting at the big table back here, and I walked back here, and they're sitting there freaking bawling. Like they got tears in their eyes. I mean, I was like, holy crap, that kid made these dudes cry. It was spectacular. Good job, kid. He knocked it out of the park.
That's fine. You're good. Yeah. Gold.
That's worth the cup for it. Next thing you'll be making fun of.
During the anthem, I call every old guy. I carry every old guy fat. Don't take it personal. During the anthem, a NASCAR official and a U.S. Army veteran, Kirk Price, delivered a respectful and powerful image. Price, who is African American, he took a knee while saluting the flag. I mean, okay, you got to do that. Dude, number one, that dude paid his price. He's a veteran. He's a veteran of service in the military. And I don't know if anybody remembers this, but America's actually at war right now. And we send these people over to people where bad lands where people want to do bad things to us. So anybody who's in the military right now is a combat veteran. And so, Mr. Price, thank you very much for your service. He took a knee and he saluted the flag. We all believe in everybody's right to freedom of speech, and we certainly think that what Mr. Price did was appropriate and respectful, and we appreciate that. On the pace lap, all the drivers stopped for a moment of reflection, and NASCAR President Steve Phelps addressed the drivers, and then they played a video of all the drivers with their message of uniting for social change. Their theme was, I'm going to listen and learn. Want to say anything else about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's amazing. I think it's great. I think that's kind of what we need to do until we're able to come together as different cultures. We're, like I said on our show, we were all on there. We're all Americans, but until we're able to come together from different cultures and sit down and have honest talks and go, I feel this way because of this, or I feel this way because of that, or it makes me feel this way when this happens, until we can be honest and open and not get offended or disgruntled or frustrated with the responses that we're getting on either side, any direction you're being pulled. Until we can sit down and have a mute conversation and listen and it not fall upon biased ears, we're never going to make change. So the more that we can sit here, listen to what people have to say, take it in as information, learn from it, and like I continue to say, keep moving forward, we're going to do great. So I think it's awesome. And back to the invocation and prayer as we talk about, I want to make it a big point that this is one of the only sports that has an invocation or prayer before we start these engines and before we go to race. No baseball games, no football games, no this and that, might be in the locker room, might be here and there, but on national TV, every Sunday or Saturday or whenever this race is, there's going to be an invocation, there's going to be a prayer. And I think that's amazing because at the end of the day, in God's eyes, whether it's whatever God that you worship, He doesn't see color. He sees people. He sees a son or a brother or a daughter or whatever you want to be. That's what He sees. So we need to take a page out of that and understand, like,
He
hey,
sees the content of your character.
Right. We're all here together.
Yeah.
It's all about who you are as a person, what you do as a person. And this is somebody that we all speak to in a time of need or a time of needing advice or a prayer that you pray or whatever it is that you do to whatever God you believe in. And I think it speaks big volumes on that as well. It's not just about, taking a stand or doing this and doing that. It's about, hey man, there's a bigger picture here. It's not just today. It's not just tomorrow. It's our kids. It's down the road. It's what comes after this life that we're given. So big kudos to NASCAR for that. I hope they never get rid of that. I think that's amazing.
I hate what America's going through, and I hope that God will bless America, continue to bless America, and we're gonna get through this together. What a race at Atlanta! 21 lead changes between 9 drivers. Atlanta is a cheese grater for tires,
there's only a couple tracks out there maybe that even come close. One we don't run anymore. Darlington's going to probably be the closest thing to Atlanta. You get 5 good laps on a fresh set at Atlanta, and then after that it's tire management.
What's the one we don't run?
Rockingham.
I'm familiar.
Yeah.
The Ham. Yep.
So Atlanta, like I said, like you said, cheese grater for tires. You get 5 good fast laps on a restart, and then after that you better start backing off and managing those tires, man, because you'll learn really quick. You cannot run that wide open. So
I think it's kind of cool because I actually thought about that. I can't think of the word, but comparing it to a cheese grater, and then Larry Mack comes out and he's got a daggum cheese grater. Larry Mack is McReynolds. What a smart fellow he is, man.
It's truthful, man. It hadn't been when it got reconfigured in '96. I'm pretty sure it got repaved. It hadn't been repaved since.
Yeah.
And as you know, Atlanta has very cold winters for what it is, and very hot summers for what it is. So with that combined, that asphalt, it does not stay new long at all. So. I think it's great. I think it's awesome, man. It really brings out the drivers. It's a driver's track. It's not about a guy that I can get 4 tires and I can hold it wide open and go as fast as I can. It's about a guy that goes, hey, I've got five laps on them. I'm going to back off and run 80 for the next 20.
Yeah.
And then the last 20, I'm going to crank it up to 85. And then I'm going to, while everybody else might be on a different strategy of running. So it's all car management. It's a very driver's track. You have to be a very good driver to be able to maintain your tires, keep the speed, maintain your speed throughout your run, and then obviously got to have some luck, got to have good pit strategy, pit stops. So.
I've heard this more than once where guys talk about hitting marks.
Yeah.
So they try to run hit the same mark,
for a line, like obviously, like you'll look for things on the track, whether it's a sign or a spot on the wall or a light on a fence post or whatever it may be, whatever line you're depending on. Obviously it's multi-groove racetrack,
right.
But whatever line you're running, so that might be your mark
your
to
reference.
enter your reference for a reference point of, hey, this is when I fold in and go down to the bottom. I let out here, I pick the gas back up here.
I got you.
That's how you maintain. And obviously you have a guy, your spotter in your ear the whole time going, hey, that was a 29.9. Okay, you just ran a 28.1. So that just tells you gained a little bit. What did I do a little different? Were I in the throttle earlier? Did I let out earlier, back in? It's just a lot of information that you have to compute while you're driving at 200 miles an hour, while you're in a 155-degree race car, while there's 40 other race cars doing the same thing around you. So
Roger
it's pretty neat, man.
The heat. They don't call it Hot Atlanta for nothing. Bubba Wallace Jr. had a scary moment. He passed out after the race. Ryan Newman had to sit down when he got out of his car. And Lawrence says that's why the race isn't held in June. So now we're getting into an area where I actually have some experience, not as a healthcare provider, but as a witness to a lot of healthcare being provided. So my recommendation would be and I think the drivers are probably doing this, but you got to camel up. You need to be drinking as much fluid as you can. Jimmy Johnson alluded to the fact that they're out of shape because they sat out for so long. They need to be drinking as much fluid. Anybody who's out in any kind of hot environment, drink a lot of fluid. I've had soldiers flop down on the ground right in front of me before.
Yeah, and they really do. All drivers really do a pretty good job of it. Obviously, some guys slack here and there.
Right.
And you kind of see that. But there again, like we said, you're running temperatures of the humidity of Georgia right now. I mean, you're running temperatures that are extremely hot in the car. It's going to happen. Fluid loss, it's going to happen, and there's always going to be a couple guys, and Bubba unfortunately had to be one of them.
So Bubba had what is called a syncope episode. That's medical speak for he fainted. So he fainted once standing up, and then while Jamie was interviewing him, and I'm watching this on TV, his eyes rolled back in his head. So, dear Jamie, if you're interviewing a driver and his eyes roll back in his head, stop the interview right now. the interview's over. Put your microphone down, call for help, and lay that human being down, and then start trying to figure out how you're going to get some fluids into them and on them, like right now. There's soldiers get heat stroke and heat stress and everything. So, interview's over. You're not a news media person at that point. I've been sitting here at Coach's Corner, working the door with a young Coast Guard officer named Kit Pace, and a gentleman had a syncope episode right across from where we were working. And we were working the door 1 second and talking about how attractive the ladies were, and then the next minute, Kit Pace, United States Coast Guard officer, went into the mode of first responder. And I mean, right now, like boom. If Lawrence falls down right now, back in the back, we're going to stop doing this show. We're going to go start saving Lawrence.
I'll keep it going. Dan's going to handle that business, and we'll keep it going.
I got a trauma flight nurse right there.
That's right. We're good to go.
All right. It would probably be a good idea also. One of my flight paramedics that I used to carry sitting next to me in the Lifestar helicopter was a crew chief. I think he was a fireman on site for ARCA races. It would probably be a good idea to have somebody who's a first responder and have a bag of fluid right there. I know the infield hospital is really close, the infield care center, but if a guy falls out right there in the pit area, the number one thing that a healthcare provider does, and I flew medevac helicopters for 17 years, the first thing they do is start an IV. Get some fluid going into that pipe right now. And that's my preaching about that. Harvick was on fire in that last stage. They had the fastest pit stop, not just of the day, I think it was the fastest pit stop of the year.
Could be.
I think it was the fastest pit stop of the year. So, man, when the racing team, number 21 car, Wood Brothers
yeah.
were the guys that brought ballet and precision to pit stops, and Harvick's guys, you guys are Wood Brothers. You're not Wood Brothers guys, but you're honoring what they did.
Yeah, and I mean, and that last stage there, man. I mean, obviously, I call it the House of Harvick for a reason. I can't remember in my time of watching the sport where a driver has been that dominant of what he's done over the last 10 years there.
Yep.
This wasn't a dominant performance as I've seen come out of him before.
Right.
But obviously, there again, put himself in the best spot he could last stage. And once he got out front and got the clean air, dude, he was gone. You're not beating that guy at Atlanta, dude. I'm telling you right now, man. You're just not.
You called it.
It's not happening.
You said House of Harvick.
It's not happening, man.
The truck, the recent trucks in Xfinity racing were great too. I thought it was pretty cool to see two ladies racing in the truck race. I watched truck race, and man, I loved it.
Yeah, there's a couple girls that are up in that. They started last year, and I'm going to tell you, man, there's a girl out there, and you've probably heard the name, runs ARCA. She might have run a truck race or is going to run truck races this year. Haley Deegan.
I've seen her.
Okay,
I've
Haley
seen her
Deegan,
on videos.
Her dad was a wild man back in the day, and let me tell you, Haley Deegan is not only good for the sport, but Haley Deegan as a female, I mean, she has some skills to drive the race car. So
I saw the dirt where she got in beside a guy.
You can hear this from me right now.
Yeah.
I'm betting
You're
in
predicting?
the next 3 to 4 years, you're going to see this girl win a major NASCAR race, whether it's a truck, Xfinity. I don't know about Cup quite yet. That's a different beast, but she will get some wins, man. I mean, she's got some talent. So
awesome. Yeah, Haley, we're looking forward to you being in the show.
Yeah, if she gets an opportunity and great ride, which I think she will, from sponsors and be in a good team and good equipment, that girl's going to get a win, man.
So, as you probably know this, if you're seeing this on Facebook, or there is a plethora of really cool stuff that you can look at to learn more about NASCAR. So Dale Earnhardt Jr. has a thing called Dale Jr. Download, and I watch a lot of his videos actually, and he had one the other day where he was talking about, and this was in the Xfinity race, where one of his drivers was about to win the race. He was less than a lap from winning the race, and his other driver crashed him. So he had 1 and 2, and 2 crashed 1, and then 2 became 1. And it was fun. It was fun to watch that video. I recommend you check it out, because you can see that his heart and his head at that point were really churning. So when one of his drivers crashed the other driver, the first thing he was is like he's mad.
Right.
Like, how could you do that?
The thing is, you own both of them, you pay for both of them. So, I can understand when you go, well, there went quite a good bit of money down the drain.
Yeah,
right
and then
there.
the next thing is he's thinking, well, since you crashed him, you better freaking win, dude.
Right.
If you don't win, we're having a come to Jesus talk, you know. So that's a great video. So how much emphasis is there on being a team member?
I mean, you know, I feel like I would say every major team is going to have different rules as far as what they expect out of teammates.
Right.
Obviously, when you look at Joe Gibbs Racing, you have 3, 4 of the top tier guys in the sport. Eric Jones is up and coming, young kid still, but you got Truex, Hamlin, and Busch all together, and then a younger kid. So when you have talent like that all around one organization, I feel like obviously sharing information, sharing car setups, and NASCAR has made it easy nowadays because the telemetry that every driver can see what other drivers are doing in their race car, not physically like videoed, but the telemetry going, okay, throttle response, this is where he's letting off, this is where he's picking up. You can get all that information now.
Okay.
Back in the day, you couldn't. So sharing the information of, hey, this is how I set up, this is what I'm doing for. Everybody's driving style is different. So that's another thing you got to look out for. But I think I would say at the end of the day, they're all race car drivers. They got into the sport for the love of racing, for the love of winning the races. So I see nothing wrong. I don't care if it's your teammate, if it's your dad, if it's your brother, if it's your sister. I don't care who it is. If you got a chance to go out there and get that lead and win that race, you better take it, because these are not easy to win. These are not easy to come by.
Right.
Doesn't matter if Xfinity trucks, the talent is so deep, there's so many people that run good. You better go get it while you can.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, next thing you know, a couple years without wins, your career's behind you in a way, you know.
So, because I was, when I flew Chinooks, we had 5 guys on our team. And my whole professional life, I have been a member of a team, and the whole emphasis has been on team. So we actually had a conversation before we went on camera, and my question was, so what if it's Big and I, we're on the same team, and we're coming around, it's the last lap, and he's in first, I'm in first, doesn't matter. Say he's in first, and I've noticed that if you get 2 cars together on a super speedway, they go faster than one car, right?
Definitely.
So if I get up behind you, and I'm not really pushing you, but I'm helping you with the air.
Right.
By drafting you, I'm helping you, and we're both going together. I'm thinking, but I'm not a NASCAR driver, and I probably suck at it, but I'm thinking that I'm probably going to just stay there, and hopefully we're going to just win that freaking race, rather than me pop out and try to do a side draft on you and crash you, whatever. And you said
I'm not. I said I'm not. I'm pushing you out into 3, and when we come out of 4, it's move time. I'm making the move, man. That's it. I mean, if we both wreck, we both wreck. Hey, good run. We'll do it again. But
so fans,
you got to go get those wins, man.
So tell us what you think in a comment. Like, would you rather see, if Big and I were on a team racing a car, would you rather see your favorite guy win assisted by a teammate, or would you rather see a pushing and shoving contest to the end, knowing that it may end up the way that Chase Elliott crashed into Logano the other day,
well,
right?
Hey, it's
right down to the end, and boom, 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 out go the lights.
I said, man, you look at the Busch brothers from Kentucky last year, you know, Kurt and Kyle racing the last lap, and I mean, touching and bumping, and I mean, going for it. Didn't intentionally wreck each other, take somebody out for the win. But like I said, if Kyle Busch is willing to wreck his own brother, you best believe he's going to wreck a teammate or anybody else.
Are they on the same
race.
team?
No, they were not teammates. No, 2 totally different teams: Chevy, Toyota, Ganassi, and Gibbs. But if he's willing to do this to his own flesh and blood, you best believe a teammate, he's going to do the same to you. He will rough you. He will rub you. Those wins, man.
So apparently, there's this quote that Tony Stewart said, "I'd wreck my own mother to win a race." So anyway, like I said, if you got some information on that, you got some thoughts on that, drop us a comment. Let us know what you think. The good, the bad, and the ugly, Atlanta Motor Speedway edition. The good was great 3-wide racing all day. NASCAR did great for allowing Jimmy Johnson to give the command, gentlemen, drivers, start your engines. Yeah, there's no more firemen anymore. There's firefighters. There's no more gentlemen. It's drivers. I don't think any other driver has ever done this before in a race. It was pretty cool. The bad luck for the guy that we both like.
Oh, Willie B, man.
Willie B.
William the Kid Byron had some bad luck there, man. A tough lesson learned. That's kind of out of his control. He made the best of it, did what he could.
There's no reset.
No reset.
There's no reset.
Salvaged the day out of it, man, and kept it going. On to the next one, man.
His pit crew knocked a valve stem off, and his tire went down, and he hit the wall, and that was it for Willie Byron.
You hit the wall at Atlanta 9 times out of 10, that's a done deal.
The ugly. The number 1 car of Kurt Busch failed inspections 3 times and had to do a pass-through at the start of the race. That's passing through the pit lane, right?
Oh, yeah. Under green.
It's hard to recover from that Atlanta.
Dude, it was hard to recover, but I'm pretty sure he finished 6, top 5, something like that. I know he was right there. So for him to go a lap down or whatever it was and then come back, and that was a good day. He worked his butt.
He was driving that car.
He worked his ass off.
There you go.
To get back up there. So
another YouTube video you can look at, because I looked at it today, is the OSS inspections that are happening live.
Okay, so this shows the actual inspection of the vehicle.
They show, and they've got like laser scanners.
Oh yeah, laser scanners.
It's pretty freaking cool.
You have to be, I want to say it's within 1/1000th. It might even be 1/10,000th of an inch.
So they used to use like a template.
Yeah, they used to have a template that they come over, side template, hood template, roof template,
and now the laser
spoiler.
does it.
Now a laser does it.
Okay.
And still, with that being said, there's still tweaks and things that happen. I don't know if you've ever seen it. There's a really cool documentary, and it's Jeff Gordon and Ray Evernham, and they're talking about their success.
Yes.
And Evernham would talk about how they would go to these racetracks and they build this car in the shop, and they had the templates, and they'd put the templates on it, and it fit the templates. And they'd do something, they'd have a lot of stuff done to the car that was not legal. It was bending the rules. It was pushing the rule book. And they would come in and...
They were cheating and they were trying.
Right. The officials would come in and put the templates on, and they go, man, Ray, you know, you're out a little bit right here. You're going to have to fix that. And he'd give them such a hard time about it, right? He'd, oh, man, come on, man. You know, I've seen 3 guys come through here, same thing, yada, 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 yada. Yeah. And then the official would walk off and he'd go over to the crew. He'd be like, yeah, they got that one, man. Just put some bond, you know, knock it in, put some Bondo on it, but we got the other 8 by, so don't even worry about it. So, I mean, it's a very cool documentary to watch, man. I mean, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. Today is a lot harder. Today is a lot more about technological, finding whether it be a part to do certain things. I mean, just who knows, tweaking a spring a certain way that, I mean, who knows, you know, that's why they hire engineers and R&D departments. But pretty cool. You got to check it out. But if you're not cheating, you're not trying, man.
Checkered flag for charity. Kevin Hart. I'm thinking of a funny story, but it has nothing to do with NASCAR.
Right.
I'm gonna tell it. So I got inspected by DHEC one time, sitting up at the at Charleston with a medical helicopter. The South Carolina Division of Health and Environmental Control comes, and there's this lady, and she's got a clipboard, and she's checking things off, and we're at the helicopter, and she's standing on one side, and I'm standing next to her, and my flight paramedic, who's going to remain nameless, he's on the other side, and she goes, okay, you need 2 D-cell flashlights in this helicopter. But we actually only had 1 D-cell flashlight in that helicopter, and we probably didn't have an axe either. You know, I don't know why you have to have an axe in a helicopter, because it's, anyway. So he smoothly, he doesn't miss a beat. He smoothly reaches into the pouch, and he grabs the single flashlight, and he's like holding it up in the back door section of this helicopter, and he goes, here's 1, and I swear to God, I'm not making this up. He takes that thing and he puts it in his hand and he swings it over and he goes, oh, and over in the front section, here's the other one. And the lady goes, check.
That's right. And away we go.
If you're not cheating, you're not trying.
And away we go.
Okay, checkered flag for charity. Kevin Harvick in the number 4 car wins Atlanta. So that's another $4. I tossed a 10 in there already. Cover me dropping a few swear bombs. That's another $4 Ronald McDonald, but that's not good enough. We're going to each go $4 this week. We're going to throw in some of our beer money, so we're up to $20. Our total so far this year is, drum roll please, $614. So hey, look, drop by, donate in person, online, mention our show, help us help the Ronald McDonald House for Kids.
We're going to get him next week with a check.
We're sending a check to, we're going to send a...
No, just got word from Lawrence. They're coming into coaches next week. We're going to present them with a check so far of what we raised this year. We're going
to run 3 wide with Ronald McDonald.
Let's do it, man. I'm liking it.
Right.
Hey, better bring some fries, man. That's all I'm saying. I like the fries, you know. So
how can people help us with this charity, Brandon?
Man, hey, you guys come in, like I say, all the time. Nickels, dimes, you know, dollars, 10s, 20s, 50s, 100s. Doesn't matter, man. Donate what you can. It's for a great cause locally, stays locally, helps people out in a very, very time of need. As you say all the time, a sick child, and the last thing a parent should have to worry about is where we're staying. How can I be close to my child? How can I be there for them when they wake up, when they go to sleep, when they're in pain, when they're this? So you know, if you got some time, if you got some spare change, come by, man. Donate some money, whether we're here or not, whether it's a Wednesday or anytime. John would be more than happy, or Adele would be more than happy to take a donation for Ronald McDonald House of the Low Country. You guys make sure to come out. Like I said, support this, support coaches as always, man. I mean, it's just a great time, good cause.
If you think the world's going to hell in a handbasket, the best way to make yourself feel better is to be as kind as you can possibly be.
Yeah.
Be kind, just be hard, I mean, just kind to everybody you encounter.
I mean, I'm a true believer of karma, and what goes around comes around, man. Yep. So a couple dollars today or tomorrow could, turn into something big for you. You know, you never know. There's higher powers out there that work in mysterious ways, man.
That is the daggum truth. I talk to him every morning about 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, that's right.
Come on, dude! I saw this. A real live fox ran out on the track during a truck race.
Yeah. That
Wasn't this fox at Talladega? No.
Yeah.
It was a fox on fox. You can't make that up. I mean, when I saw that, I was like, oh, that fox is fixing to be road pizza.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen there's been quite a few animals throughout the years, man, that have made an appearance in NASCAR races. And, obviously, Dale Earnhardt Sr. hit a seagull one year at Daytona, and that was not a pretty sight. There was, as my dad would say, I'm pretty sure the last thing that went through that seagull's mind was his ass. So, I got a 5. How about that?
I heard something cool. Jeff Gordon was talking about the aerodynamics when you get up by the wall. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because he used a term that a new helicopter pilot will use when we talk about hovering and ground effect. A lot of people will call that a cushion.
Yeah.
So there's a
very similar.
It's exactly
the same.
So what you're doing is you're taking this flat surface and you're putting it up on its side, and the car goes up here, and you get
air.
You get ground effect, right?
You get a bubble right there.
We call it a bubble. We call it a cushion, but the scientific term is ground effect. And that was kind of cool. I mean, I think there's a lot about the cars that is related to aerodynamics.
Oh, everything's related to aerodynamics about the sport, and that's one thing that they had talked about. You know, Kyle Larson was that guy that would, I'm not going to say he invented running the high line. Dale Jr. loved it. A lot of guys loved it. But he was the first one that goes, you can gain a lot of speed by running up here if you can get that feel. And that's what he kind of lost. Like after the 17-18 season, the new aero bodies and the things they did to the car, you don't get that anymore. You don't get that ground effect or that cushion of air that you feel. You know, like, hey, I'm right here. I can't get any closer because the air is pushing me back.
Right.
You don't get that anymore. Now it's more like, okay, you get up there, and if you're not fit, maybe you do. I mean, I'm not a driver. It might just not be as intense.
Right.
So you kind of lost that feeling, and it kind of cost him. It took him a little while to figure out, like, okay, I don't feel that anymore. So now I got to figure out a different way to be able to feel that again. But aerodynamics, I mean, in
aviation, we want the vehicle to fly.
Right.
In NASCAR, they want the vehicle to not fly.
Exactly.
So those little
you want it to be very low, sucked down to the ground, going as fast as it can.
And I notice as soon as it stops going the way it's supposed to go, there's panels popping up.
Yeah. Even I know you've noticed at Talladega, which is coming up. I mean, when you start getting guys up there and they get behind a guy, those flaps on their hood will come up because the air changes. There's no air on it, or there's more air on it to push them up.
Right.
So it's not that they're becoming airborne. It's just the air changes direction because of how many cars you have lined up. So something to look out for.
And I got figured out the splitters, the air dam in front.
Yeah, the very bottom of that air dam in front.
Yep. Okay, very cool. You're teaching me big. I'm learning stuff.
Yeah, man, we're getting there, man.
Cheers to Kevin Harvick's 3, like this.
Yep,
3-finger salute.
3 salute.
After the race to honor Dale Sr., who he won this race 2 weeks after Dale Sr. passed away 19 years later.
Yeah.
I was watching that race at the Lifestar quarters at Memorial Hospital.
I was at the Atlanta race when he won it and watched the Daytona when he did. So big cheers, shout outs to Kevin Harvick. I mean, obviously it does. It's the house of Harvick for a reason.
Yep.
Cheers to Harvick for remembrance of a great, and to Dale Sr.
God bless him. Happy Harvick. So what's happening tonight at Martinsville? What do you think? Tell me, break it down.
Man, I tell you what, I'm hoping they get this thing in. Obviously, there's going to be some inclement weather in there, that might, cause it not to be. I don't know how they're talking about redoing this. There's been speculation of all kinds of different stuff. Either they'll wait and run it next week on Wednesday, or they'll run a doubleheader at Miami.
Right. Or
there's been all kinds of stuff thrown out there. So I really hope they get this in, because Martinsville is a great short track. It is short track racing at its finest.
Yep.
So I'm behind us right now. Looks like it might be under a little bit of a weather delay. Not quite sure. Good to go. Okay, then it's probably going to get in and at least start. So we're going to see some good laps.
Those two guys are probably better educated and better looking than us, but you're going to have more fun staying right here.
One of them's the goat of racing to me, and one of them's the goat probably of broadcasting there for a while. So either way, you got two greats. But
yep.
I mean, at the end of the day, Martinsville short track racing at its finest, man. It's not a Bristol. It's not the world's fastest half mile. It's a very small, tight oval. The bottom wins it. It's curbed on the inside. You hop the curb, you get loose. People are going to touch, they're going to bump, they're going to run, they're going to push out the way.
Yep.
Going to be some caution, some guys getting spun out. The paper clip, man. That's it. So, I mean, you got to look at it like this. It's always a very exciting race. Obviously, it's going to be under the lights tonight, which even makes it more exciting.
Yep.
You're going to see some guys come to life. It's a very long race, 500 laps, just like Bristol is.
You're going to see some fireworks?
You're going to see some fireworks, man. Some tempers might get lost tonight, depending on what happens. Seen it there a million times throughout the years. But one of the best tracks to me on NASCAR as far as short tracks go, or tracks, period. Obviously, I mean, you have so much history at Martinsville. All the short track guys that grew up racing short tracks love Martinsville. Obviously, if you want me to run down the top 5 real quick, I will.
Go hit it.
All right, so if we're going to break down the top 5, I mean, I've got to take a Virginia native myself. The guy's run good there throughout all the years his career. I really look big things for him. Obviously, all 3 Gibbs cars running great at Atlanta last week. Number 1's got to be Denny Hamlin for me this week.
Okay.
Right behind him, I'm going to go ahead and I'll say Kyle Busch has a really good run at Martinsville. Seems to either be aggressive or have a really good car there 9 times out of 10. Number 3 is going to be Chase Elliott. Number 4 is going to be Joey Logano. Number 5, number 5 is going to be Truex. So I'm saying 3 Gibbs cars again finish inside the top 5 this week.
Right.
Truex has not won very many short track races, but has run
and
very
Gibbs
well.
Guys did good last week, right?
Yes, yeah, they did really good last week. Truex has led a lot of laps at short tracks. Doesn't have very many wins at official short tracks.
Okay.
And then the dark horse guy I think you're going to have to kind of watch out for tonight is going to be the Eric Jones type guy.
Okay.
Eric Jones, I look forward to have a really good run here. That 4th Gibbs driver. Don't know if he'll crack top 5, but the kid's going to have a really, really good run.
What's a charter team?
So a charter team is basically like you're chartered in off of points of your history, or let's say like if the Wood Brothers is a charter team of Penske. Basically, what it is a lot of the Woods Brothers stuff is either Penske affiliated, meaning we share information, or you get your engines from me, or you do this. But it's all on points and based off of what you've done as owner points, manufacturer points. So you're always going to have a certain number of manufacturers.
Are they always allowed to be to race, or do they still have to qualify?
So a charter team is in no matter what. You still qualify every week, but no matter what, even if you if there's
you don't qualify, you start at the back?
43 cars and we're starting 40,
yeah,
and you're with the 43rd slowest time,
yeah,
you're going to start at 40 if you're in that race.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you for helping me there. AJ Allmendinger. AJ, congratulations. Bless you.
Yeah, that's a guy right there that kind of got robbed.
It's Austin. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Austin Dillon's wife may have a baby tonight. So Austin Dillon, God bless you, and God bless your wife. And AJ, bless you, because you're on standby to run the car in case that AJ's got to leave Didi Mount.
Austin's got to. Hey, and Austin, the 3 car better come ahead this week, because I got you this week, so you better have a good run.
So Austin's in the 3, and Ty Dillon is in the 13, and they're brothers.
Yeah, they're brothers, and they're grandsons of Richard Childress.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. Mailbag question. Will there be another dust-up tonight between Chase Elliott and Joey Logano?
Nah.
That's
if there is,
ancient history.
I can tell you right now, if Logano does some stuff like that, it's not going to be Chase's start. If Logano does some stuff like that, he's gonna have to come see me. I'm going to Martinsville. You know what I mean? Like, come on,
Mr.
man.
Logano,
It was a
my
racing
friend
deal.
Brandon Bain.
It was a racing deal. It was a racing deal, man. So I don't think so. I think both those guys, they probably talked about it. They got it squared up. It is what it is, man. Racing deal.
So we're looking ahead to racing at South Beach style Miami-Homestead, the Dixie Vodka 400.
Yeah, one of my favorite tracks, man. I love this track.
Is that 400 laps, 400 miles, or 400 kilometers?
I'm going to say it's going to be a 400-mile race, which is going to be like probably right around 267 is what they're going to run, 268,
Okay.
somewhere in there. I don't know the exact numbers, but it's going to be somewhere in there.
If you're new to NASCAR, when they throw that number out there, it could be one of those three
Well,
things, right?
so the only reason we do kilometers now is those Wednesday races.
Yeah.
So as soon as we go back to just the Sunday, which is after this Wednesday,
Right.
it's always going to be miles.
Miles or
500
laps?
miles or laps.
Miles or
or
laps.
laps.
Okay.
So Bristol's always, Martinsville, always going to be laps. 500 is
Okay.
always going to be laps. The Folds of Honor 500 in Atlanta was miles.
Gotcha.
So it's 325 laps at Atlanta every year, never changes unless we get an overtime. So,
The Fans 1000 return to Miami-Homestead.
yep.
Dale Jr. down in Miami is going to race an Xfinity
Yeah,
car.
Saturday, man. It's going to be cool. I knew it wasn't going to be long, man. I mean, I think he kind of got the bug again after the iRacing.
Yeah.
And obviously he's been doing it, but I think he kind of got the bug again. And I enjoy that, man. I love it. It's like we talked, I think, last week. I've always been a huge supporter of, like I say, what we start a championship league, like, the champions of golf,
Yeah.
these older guys.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it'd be awesome. You got Dale Jr., get Gordon in there, like at a Martinsville or at a, short track. You get maybe a 18-car field, 12-car field,
Yeah.
run a little 50-lap heat, 75-lap shootout. Man, let these greats go at it. Stewart, Gordon, Bobby Labonte, Junior, anybody that wants to come back that is like a past winner in NASCAR.
Kenny Schrader.
Kenny Schrader. There you go, man. I mean,
Kenny Schrader.
I think it would be a great asset to the sport. I think it'd be awesome.
Kenny Schrader, I love you. I think you're
Yeah.
spectacular. 5 top drivers to watch at Miami-Homestead.
Whew. All right, Miami's a little different ball game, man. So if I'm going to go out and I'm going to say who's going to win the Miami race, my first guy has got to, and I'm going to say it right now, my first guy is going to end up being Martin Truex Jr. And the reason I say that, this is a guy who was a 1.5-mile killer for the past 2-3 seasons.
Yep.
And he hasn't got quite the finishes as good as he's running. Led a lot of laps at Darlington, led a lot of laps at Atlanta. Haven't got the win yet. I really expect him to show up out here at Miami this Sunday. Number 2 for me is going to be Joey Logano in that Roger Penske Ford. Always super fast there, has a knack for running it. Number 3, I'll take Chase Elliott there again. I mean, it's going to be the usual players, man, until it gets changed around. Number 4, Ryan Blaney. I relate this track to a little bit of California. Nowhere near the size. Little banking, corners, everything's a little different, but it's multi-groove, run anywhere. It's a lot about driver throttle control. I think the kid's got a really good setup for that. Number 5, we'll go out there, and obviously I can't leave him hanging. He's really good. I got to throw out Kyle Busch, rounding out my top 5. Dark horse for the week is going to be Bowman, and it's not much of a dark horse, but he's won a race this year. The kid's going to get the Highline hooked up. He's going to have a great race car.
Spectacular.
Beyond that, let's go back to Martinsville for 1 second.
Go ahead.
It's not going to surprise me one bit tonight, and I will put this on there. It's not going to surprise me one bit tonight if you see that 48 car get a win
Jimmy
at
Johnson.
Martinsville tonight. I'm just putting it out there. I forgot to say it earlier. I meant him be in my top 5. You're not in my top 5.
Big's
but,
been saying that Jimmy Johnson was going to win a race
this.
this year, and tonight could be the night.
It could be the night. This is one of his best tracks that he runs at career statistically. The guy's won there, I don't know, some astronomical amount. He beat Gordon for the most wins there in the modern era. I don't even know what the number is, 9, 11, 10, something crazy like that.
Yeah.
But he's absolutely dominant. So.
Hey, if you're still here with us, spectacular. I know we talk a lot. I talk a lot.
And Martinsville also has one of the best trophies, man. The grandfather clock is an awesome trophy.
I heard a driver talking about he wants to win the trophy. Like some of the trophies
it's the
are
grandfather clock, man. So, but back to Miami, man. Those are my guys in Miami. Like I said, Bowman, dark horse, expecting to have a great run.
If you come and watch the race here on Sunday, you just tell them that Dan Folds offered you your first beer. I'm Dan Folds. Your first beer's on me. Tell your server. Hey, fans, thanks for watching and being part of the show. Please hit like, share, drop a question. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Lawrence is in charge of all that. Lawrence Bennett is our producer. He is spectacular. He's the brains behind the camera. What's our show called? It's called Rubbin' and Grubbin'. Rubbin' is about the racing, and grubbin'
is about the tasting, man. And we're getting ready to do it.
So we're getting ready to have something here. Come on up here, lovely.
In the middle.
So our lovely lady serving the meal tonight is my wife, former Lifestar flight nurse, trauma nurse, certified flight registered nurse, Jeannie Folds.
Yep. So in honor of Martinsville, obviously Martinsville has some of the best hot dogs ever, man.
It's LB says this is maybe the best hot dog of all time. This is a LB recipe passed to the kitchen, but you can get one here. It's you can get these at the Martinsville track. At the track, they're only $2, so it's a promotional item. They're a little bit more than that here. So what do you got? You got a big ass, big ass.
You threw a 10 in, man. You're good.
You got a big ass hot dog in there. You got a delicious bun. You got coleslaw. You got chopped up onions, and you got chili.
That's it.
Yum. Man. And I'm not going to start eating that because it's going to
get nasty.
I'm going to wait till we get.
You gotta take a bite.
I'll take a bite. I'll get nasty with it, man. Go ahead.
Last lap recap of the show.
Wait. You gotta take a bite.
All right, I got it.
Martinsville, baby.
Throw out my nose. It's good.
Danny, come on. Get in there.
I can't do that. There might be children watching this. Last lap recap of the show. Tune in next Wednesday for a huge double show as we break down all the action at Martinsville and Miami.
That thing's amazing.
The Martinsville dog. I mean, for crying, look at that thing. It looks like death by hot dog.
Yeah, that is good, man.
All right. Once again, we want to thank our ESPN Savannah Hilton Head 104.3 FM, 1400 AM radio audience for tuning into Facebook Live. Facebook Live. Be sure to tune in to Green White Checkered this Sunday, coming up Sunday morning at 9 a.m. PJ, Big, Brandon, and me will break down the race. PJ, thanks again for teaming up with us.
Yeah, man.
We also want to thank the other show on the Coach's Corner Sports Network, the Carl DeMasi Sports Report with Coach Carl DeMasi and the AD Chad Griffin, broadcasted live here every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. live on Facebook. Tune in. They do an awesome job on Facebook Live. Hey, Coach DeMasi is about to come on Facebook Live and do his Wednesday night sports update right after our show. Hey, Coach.
Now make sure you guys stay tuned right here. As Dan alluded to, Coach's Corner Sports Network. You guys stay tuned. Watch Carl's show, man. It's really good. Really great time. Again, big thanks to John Henderson and Adele Henderson for letting us do this every Wednesday, man. This is a blast.
I'm Dan Folds.
I absolutely love it. I'm Brandon Bain. Hey, make sure you stay safe. Wash your hands.
You having fun?
Oh, man, yeah. Yeah, I'm having fun. After the day I had, trust me, I'm having fun.
You turn that camera off first.
That's good, man. That's a good freaking hot dog.
Hold on. I got to get in my fighting attire here.
Yeah, you better, because trust me, I had it on my nose, I had it on my face.
It's a good slaw. I've never had a slaw dog.
Yeah, it's very good, man. That's how I always.
I mean, with chili.
Dude, I'll throw everything on mine.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, that's good. It's good hot dog, man.
Oh, hell yeah. Wow.
I love good chili dog.
Yeah,
Oh my
chili
God,
dogs. I mean, I load hot dogs up anyways, being relish, sauerkraut, anything and everything.
Oh my God,
Put
that's
it on
good.
it, man.
Holy
That's
shit.
The best chili dog is Checkers on the rim. That's the best way.
Best one?
That is. It's better than any other Checkers, but that's the best chili dog in town.
Damn, that's good. Good show, man.
I don't know what
Yeah, man.
they do different. Wow. But that's it.